Alright, so the video got cut a little bit short because my phone rang. So we left off here on the table. So what I was saying is, I want you to put the vertex, and when you pick the two numbers that are bigger, and this is going to come into play when you practice on the homework, I don't want any decimals here. So, when you go bigger than 4, just pick 5 and 6. And when you go below 4, 3, and 2. But no decimals in here. So if this had been 4.5, I still would have picked 5 and 6 and 3 and 2. How do I get the rest of the tape points? The easiest way to do this, again, is this is in a calculator, and I would go to the table. So I've already pressed second graph, and I just want to scroll up and down so I see those values. So I get x is 2. So I'm just looking at my table now. So 2 gives me -7, 3 gives me -13, 5 gives me -13, and 6 gives me -7. And what I'm hoping you start to see is there is a pattern with the numbers. They're just not going up by a certain amount. The pattern is, after the vertex, we have what I call partner points. These share the same y values. And same thing over here. After the vertex, I would consider these partner points because they both have 0. And these have these are partner points because both of their y's are 3. So there is a pattern with the y's. It's just not the pattern we've typically seen in linear and exponential. So next thing I'm going to do is answer this question. So if x is 7, I already have my table up, so I'm just going to scroll down until I get to 7. It's going to take me a little bit. And that's 3. And I'm going to write it as an ordered pair, 7, 3. The y-intercept, that's when I already got that, so I'm just going to rewrite my answer here, 0, 17. And again, just a reminder, y-intercepts, y is the value, and x is 0. The x-intercepts, we already did those. X-intercepts have x as a number, and then the y is 0. So I'm just recopying what I've already put in my picture. So now we're going to get to some new stuff. We're going to go to where y is 120. And actually, let's change that. Let's change that because I've already set our window. Let's change it to 40. So again, this is where, if you look back at your notes, I'm giving you y. So we need to use the y1 feature. So instead of f of x equaling this, whoops, sorry, keep hitting the phone, y is f of x. So I'm just going to replace it with 40. And now I'm going to have this already in y1, and I'm going to put this in y2. So I'm going to go to y equals, just change that y2 into 40, hit graph, and you know what? I'm going to change it again. Sorry, I wasn't looking at my table the right way. Let's change it to 15. Sorry, folks. And I know you're all moaning and groaning now, but let's go back to y equals. Let's just change it to 15 because that will fit in our table or in our picture. So hit graph. So there's my parabola opening up. And here comes my y equals. And now I'm going to do second trace. I'm going to choose option for intersect. And I'm just going to scroll to where I think the first one is, hit enter 3 times. And that's going to give me, rounding to the nearest tenths again, 0.1. So where are we? So there's 2 of them. 0.1 with 15. And then I'm going to go find the other one. So it says as an ordered pair. So one of them is 0.1 up here. So let's do second trace again. Choose intersect, option 5. This time I'm going to scroll over to the other one. Doesn't matter how you get there, just get there. Once I'm there, I'm going to enter 3 times. And the other one is 7.9 if I round. So 7.9 goes with 15, and we'll put the 7.9 here. Let's go back to minimum or maximum. This is a minimum because it's the lowest point. So I'm going to write it as such. It's a minimum of y equals first, so negative 15, when x equals 4. So again, I'm just looking at the vertex. And then I can put the vertex here, which we put in our picture. It's 4 and negative 15. Again, this is our vertex and our minimum. So going back to the answer, remember you can always pause. And now I'm going to go and get the other ones. So here I'm looking for x's. So I can go to the table. So second graph for the table. If you don't want this to appear, just get rid of that y2 because we don't need any more. So second table, and if x is negative 3, I have 83. If x is 0, I'm looking at my table, I have 17. But now I need to get to x is 60, so scrolling down will take too long. So let's go to the way our table is set up. So second window, table setup, and let's just start at 60. And now go back to your table, second graph, and that's 6257. And then I'm going to go back here. So let's just go back to our table setup so I don't have to scroll all the way down to 150. I'll start it at 150 and go back to your table, second graph, and 42617. All right, last one. Here we go. So for 10, again, this is y. So it's going to be just what we did up here, but instead of 40, I'm going to put 10. So y equals, here's my equation, and then 20 equals, and here's my equation. So I'm going to have to go back to my y equals button, change, put 10 in for one of them, and I'm going to do second, sorry, not second, I'm just going to hit graph. So if you messed up, just press graph again. And again, it's every time I'm looking for an x given a y, I'm always getting two answers. So I'll write them both down. So intersect, second trace, choose option 5. There's 1, and I'm going to enter 3 times. And if we're going to the nearest tenths, we'll make it 0.5 with 10. And then I'll get the other one, so I'll do second trace, choose option 5 again, scroll over to the other one, and then I'm going to hit enter 3 times. So now I have 7.5. And then I'm going to do this once more, but with 20 in there. So I know you're practicing a lot, but we need to know how to do this. So change just back to y equals, change the 10 into a 20. And again, it's going to hit it twice, it seems. Every single time it's been hitting it twice. All right, it's getting a little hard to see. Let's see what happened here. All right, so I'm going to do second trace. Excuse me. Press intersect. This time I'm going to go up here. It's close to where I want it. Hit enter 3 times. So negative 0.2 if we're rounding to the nearest tenths. And then once more, second trace, choose option 5 and go over here. And then enter 3 times. All right, so that one I'll make it 8.2 with 20. Finally, domain and range. So domain, remember x, I want the smallest x over here, the biggest x over here, and range, I want the smallest y over here and the biggest y over here. So domain, we're looking for our smallest x that we wrote down and our biggest x, and those would be your infinities. So negative infinity on the left because that's smaller, infinity on the right because that's bigger. And then our range, so I want our smallest y and our biggest y. So the smallest y is down here at your minimum of negative 15, and the biggest y you wrote was infinity up here. So negative 15. Remember we said we're going to underline with the numbers. And there you go. So your next video, we'll just talk a little bit about the homework, get you guys going, and talk about the window.